Hello and welcome everyone to a new episode of Tawheed and the Spiritual Unity of the Three Principles webinar series. Today we are exploring, well, not a different topic, but it's about addiction as well. But this time we're going to talk about how the three principles understanding is helping addictive patients in the Muslim community. And for this specific episode, we are having guests from Nigeria, First Muslim Addiction Support Group, and I'll be looking forward to this webinar because I really want to hear and listen to people how they're seeing the link of their thought-generated experience to addiction, and how they're getting out of that and having a normal, joyful life without being under any, excuse me, without being under any drug or addictive to anything really. Harry, would you like to?
Yes, thanks, Omar. First of all, the clients are not patients. We're not doctors, and the support group, the people are not even clients. What we are is a community where right now the Nigerian addiction support group has 6 people, which includes myself as well. And 3 of them are mentors from Back to the Fitra, and 2 of them are, which we have Mohammed here. 2 of them had trouble with addictive substances, one with cocaine and one with crack cocaine. But the support group, Omar, was set up because there was a hole in our service, and perhaps we could even say a hole in the and perhaps the whole 3P service, but in addiction especially. Oh, good, Aisha's almost here. So what I mean by that is that we are, the healing that we have accomplished has been amazing, almost 100% of all the clients that we have dealt with. But the whole was, we didn't have, I didn't realize until one of the clients relapsed that we didn't have a support after the person had their big realization, had their experience. There's still that addictive thought pattern inside of them. And when it resurfaced in one of the clients, I realized we're not there. We aren't providing a service. The client has already had a spiritual insight towards their mental health, their happiness, and their freedom from the drug. But they still are human beings. And one of the things that became evident was that the 3P support group was going to be a lot different than AA support group. Much, much different. The topics that we talk about are much higher, and we're not talking about getting rid of addiction. We're talking about how to reclaim your spiritual identity, how to feel connected to Allah again through the challenges of life. And we're having a good time, which is really, really important. It's not a heavy, it's a really, really beautiful, beautiful experience. So and 3 principles in addiction, as you may or may not be aware, almost has no support groups. The only other one that I know of is in Minnesota. So it hasn't been provided, and I saw this as the missing whole, or the missing ingredient to the total service of helping people to live free of the substance. And it was based a little bit on what Sid did with the people from Salt Spring and the people who came. He would throw conferences to allow people to relive and feel again that spiritual unity, that tawheed, that feeling and remember, oh, right, that's the feeling that heals. That's the feeling that guides, because we get lost in our personal lives and so on. Now, addiction is to me, a really unique animal because very few people want to talk about it live on the show. Yet, what I have found in Addiction, Alcoholism, and Three Principles podcast is last month we had 1,700 downloads in the podcast, and in Tawheed we had 175 podcast downloads. Both very impressive, but the 1,700 shows that people want to listen to addiction or talk about addiction in a comfortable setting. It's an uncomfortable topic for a lot of people, and they don't want to show their face and don't want to be involved, but they will listen to the podcast because it's safe and secure. And in the Muslim community, Omar, doubly so. I hate this. I don't want to be insulting to the Muslim people, but they just aren't brave enough to face the reality of this particular scenario, except in Nigeria. In Nigeria, it's a huge problem, and the people have an openness, a warmth, togetherness that has allowed it to blossom. Or another way of saying it, Omar, is Allah has shown us the way of the country that has a level of consciousness that is open to what we are providing. And this has been a very unique experience for myself because I recognized it very early. There was a collective feeling among the people that I did not feel in other countries. People are Muslims, but the beauty of the Nigerian people, they're human beings on a really beautiful level. They can share a feeling that, or maybe it's me, maybe I just like that feeling, I don't know, but it has blossomed into something very, very special. So the support group became very important because of the fact that after people have a spiritual insight, they still can get lost. And what we're going to try and show on this show is how the Three Principles support group is different than AA or other support groups. Because the first thing, Omar, is we never talk about addiction. It's mentioned in sort of if we get into urges or stuff like that. But we're primarily sharing the same thing that we're sharing on this show, type of thing. And we're having a lot of fun. And it's brought the group together. So I want to introduce those who are here. We have two who did not make it today, but basically Aisha and Bilkasu, who are here, are mentors from Back to the Fitra, and Mohammed was a client who, to be honest, he just stepped into the positive feeling. He understood it almost right from the beginning. He just loved the positive feeling. And he also wanted an answer to his question, why is this drug, why is it forcing me to live a life that isn't so happy? I like being happy, right, Mohammed?
I do.
I do. So Mohammed, maybe you could just talk for a second about why this support group was important to you and what you've seen in it, and also emphasize that it's not just me talking. It's like to talk about what the other three mentors have meant to you by listening to what they have to share, etc., and what you have to share. Just anything that comes to your heart.
Okay. Well, the support group has, it's first of all, it makes me feel comfortable, and the feeling of, having that comfortable feeling allows me to share what I wouldn't usually talk about. And then the response I get from the other people I share with is positive. And then I get to listen to their own similar experiences also, which then makes me realize, oh, we're all going through basically kind of the same thing. So, and then through that, I get to, you know, get to see how they've overcome some things they were facing, which most times I equate to myself and then see, okay, if I do this, I might get this result. And basically it works for me. Alhamdulillah.
It does work for you, but you would admit that it hasn't been a difficult road, has it?
Well, should I say it has
Does
it's,
it?
and
Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, say a bit difficult and a bit easy at the same time. So
Yeah,
it's hanging in the balance, yes.
yeah, yeah. But nice to have a support group when it's difficult. Yeah,
Yes, yes.
definitely. And you brought a lot, honestly, to the group, Mohammed. The group started because one of the other clients had a relapse, but when you came in, it sort of brought another aspect to it. We needed someone like yourself, and I would have to say, Omar, I mean, Mohammed, you're very, very open, very, very open, and that's very beautiful type of thing. So, Bill Kasu, you want to share something? Go ahead. Anything.
Hello, Harry. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
So, yeah, the support group was a beautiful idea, and we all come to learn together and get that good feeling. There's always something that we take away during the session. The simplicity of the three principles can't be overemphasized, because sometimes some people, the fact that it's that simple, don't even take it seriously. But that's what I love about it. And to have that space to share and gain insight and share wisdom is really amazing. And you could see the impact it's making on not just them, but us, the mentors as well, that we're learning from Harry and also supporting each other. So it's really a beautiful circle to have. And it has been an amazing experience.
And Bill, one of the things I noticed was you kind of needed a platform in this type of topic to share what you understand.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And that's the important point, guys. It's not listening to the leader or the top guy or the icon. It's what comes from you and what you share. And to be honest, when you shared, I saw the spirit come out in you, Bill Kasu, the power, the strength. And it changed the group, because the group it's not a teaching by Harry. What it is a collective. If as each person talks and shares, we become community. And to me, community is everything. It's not about individual people. Some people know more than others. And I think when you shared, you saw what you had was of great value to everybody and to yourself.
Yeah, because the more you share, the more you it kind of sinks in more in you also.
That's exactly what Omar and I have experienced being on this show. The more we share, the more we grow. And that's, a beautiful mantra for sure. That's very beautiful. How about you, also from Nigeria. Aisha has been one of the people who have contributed the most to the addiction department, because she has brought in certain members to the addiction department, and we have been very successful. One of the clients who is not in the support group. He has had tremendous growth, also on a substance, but he felt he didn't need a support group, and so he didn't come. And that's their right, and that's has to be respected. But for those who want a support group, it needs to be there. It has to be there in this particular area, because it's a little bit of a special area, Omar. You know, if someone, say, is caught on pornography, let's say as an example, they're just in their own little world and nobody else knows about it. But if they're caught up in a substance, it seems like it affects everybody, and so on. So Aisha was very instrumental, and in many ways, we've shared the most individually with each other. So Aisha, what has this support group meant to you?
Assalamu alaikum. Hi, Harry. Hi, Umar. It's great to be here again. Yeah, assalamu alaikum. So the support group, right from the beginning, when Harry suggested it, it sounded like a very good idea to me. And especially with something we've discussed with Harry again about collegiality. So when we start out, wisdom comes from where it will, comes through whom it will. And so right from the beginning, it was more like colleagues sharing. And so it was not about addiction, more like it's about life. It's about the good feeling. It's about raising together in levels of consciousness. So it's all about what it goes back to use 6 words again, spiritual beings sharing a human experience. And all of us have gone through experiences, sharing with each other. It sort of deepens the understanding, the lightness, the fun. So it's a place, it feels like it's a place everyone wants to be. And naturally, when you have good feeling, you have growth. And so I keep seeing more of that. And I would say there's ease to it. There's ease to it because we're all, to use the words again, colleagues, sharing wisdom.
Yeah.
And growing together.
That's the clients or the patients, as you use the word, at a certain point, they evolve to be colleagues. That's the goal of all the training that I do in the addiction department. There is really not an addiction problem. There's a problem with in some kind of misunderstanding about the way we operate, and it shoots out, this imbalance shoots out into addiction. But
it's a thinking problem, Harry, isn't it?
It is a thinking problem. That's very astutely stated, Omar. Absolutely. And it's also a spiritual problem. The people have lost their connection to Allah, and or they have a connection to Allah, but the psychological is interfering with this clear connection that we know is so precious. So it's a spiritual problem, it's a psychological problem, it's a thinking problem. All three of those. But the joy is when the level of consciousness goes up, we have a good time. We forget about our problem. We forget about that we're separate. And we get a feeling of connection that is very beautiful. And the best thing of all is, say, when someone like Muhammad shares something, it inspires me. It allows me to enjoy myself in a new way. here I am in Canada having a cup of coffee, talking to these crazy people from Nigeria. It's fantastic. Couldn't be better, type of thing. So, so we have one more who is. Thanks, Aisha. That was beautiful, and
Thank you, Harry.
that was very. We have
Thank you, Aisha.
Abba has joined us. In many cases, the reason the support group came was because of Abba. Abba was our first major client, and he was addicted to a substance, and he had a very, very powerful insight, and he became very, very optimistic and positive. But like the addiction problem is that it resurfaced and he had a relapse. And when he had the relapse, I said, oh, that's where we have a hole in our service. We're not there to help him. And within that hole, we got together, actually Bill Kasu, Abba, and myself got together. And so he was in relapse, but he had worked his way through quite a bit. But it took Omar about 3 minutes for him to regain his spiritual feeling. It's about 3 minutes to regain his happy feeling. About 3 minutes to realize, actually, it's already over. But because of what he experienced and his honesty and his sharing, the group started. That was where the idea germinated and came into play. And so, Abba, could you talk a little bit about what you have experienced and why the support group is so important? Are you there? You're muted, Abba. You have to unmute yourself. Well, maybe he's not there. That's the other thing about the support group. You got to be very flexible. One thing about Africans, you're never sure who's showing up and when they're showing up, but they show up sooner or later, very cool people.
That's the most important thing, right?
Yeah, that's for sure correct. Being flexible with what life throws at you. And there's a great teaching in that, Omar. There's a tendency for the teacher, I'm so important and it has to fit into my schedule. Let me tell you, as educators and three principals, you fit into your clients' schedules a lot easier than they fit into yours, type of thing. If Abba comes on, we'll get him to talk. Mohammed, one of the insights you had, I pulled this out. Mohammed said, most times we're too ashamed to accept our problems, that in return, we tend to dive deeper into them and live in denial. Do you remember when you said that?
Oh yeah,
Mohammed,
yes, I do.
What did that mean to you? Why was that important?
Well, that just...
I'll read it just a sec. I'll read it one more time. Most times we're too ashamed to accept our problems, that in return, we just tend to dive deeper into them and live in denial. Go ahead. Go ahead, Mohammed.
Okay, that just reminded me of how I lived in the past. Okay, basically I was addicted, but I kept telling myself that, oh, you're not addicted. And then when I go to a rehab and come out, I just, tell myself, okay, I'm going to have this one last time, then I'll stop. So that's what I kept telling myself, and then I just kept on going back to rehab constantly and just never just leaving my, the addiction cycle. So when I realized, okay, I was just living in denial, that was when I started seeing changes in myself. Then I accepted that, oh, I have a problem. And then I started looking for a solution to the problem.
And then Allah brought you to us, right?
Yes, Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, yeah, and it was a blessing on both sides.
Yes.
Type. And can you tell them, like, you had quite a gruesome experience going to university, and that really shook you. Could you tell a little bit about how that is and how you feel about that now? How you saw it in the past and how you see it now?
Okay, yeah. So I started schooling, I started university, but then my addiction, that was when, okay, it was during the lockdown. So that was when my addiction got really strong. I couldn't, I was home 24/7 and then, going out and everything. So I just became a mess. Just became a mess. Everything around my life then was just revolving around my addiction. So, when I resumed school resumed around, I think, October. So I think immediately the first 3 weeks, that's when I did something terrible in school, which was related to my addiction. And then, yeah, I got sent from school. So ever since then, I've just been having this regrets. Oh, if I hadn't done this, this wouldn't have happened, this and that and that. But then, yeah, now I realize maybe I wasn't meant to graduate from the school. Maybe Allah had a different life path for me. So it's all makes sense now.
And if you ever go back, you'll have much bigger gratitude for what you've experienced.
Yes.
Yeah, gratitude is a big part of it, Mohammed. We go through these tough times so that we will have gratitude. In a way, it's like having compassion for yourself, not just for other people, but for yourself and what you've gone through. Take my word for it. We've all done it. Everyone in this room has done it. Me too. And it has brought, when it works, when things get smooth or works out in a spiritual positive way, the gratitude is just pours out of you. You don't say gratitude. It comes from inside out and it just is there. And in truth, you're the luckiest guy in the world. That's the truth. The luckiest guy in the world. Not because coming to learning from me, but learning about the three principles or learning about that spiritual identity that you are. It's the most important thing. Would you agree, Mohammed?
Yeah, I would. I do.
Yeah, that's really, really beautiful. And then what's interesting, Omar, is Nigeria opened up, and because Nigeria opened up, I'm doing a project in a refugee camp with 109,000 people in the refugee camp in Uganda, and Yai, who's here, she's part of the team that's doing that. So one thing leads to another thing. That when you share, people, you have to understand it's not always direct, but it always opens the door, because it's kind of like Allah's eyes guide you rather than your own eyes.
Does that mean that you're going to Uganda, Harry?
Well, it means I am in Uganda via WhatsApp and so on, and it's been quite a technological struggle, but it's been very, very interesting.
Traveling 2 times in split seconds, basically.
Yeah, something like that. So yeah,
amazing.
So
congrats, Harry.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, maybe for a second, just tell them that, show them that it hasn't been easy, but we're making slight progress. Go ahead, yeah, just for a second.
Hi, everyone. So, just piggybacking on what Harry says, how us as teachers don't try to force things and having people fit into our needs and schedules. And the Uganda project is a perfect example of that. For weeks, we were just trying to get a meeting in. And then once we got the meeting in, the internet wasn't working well over there. And then we thought that we solved that problem by, a kind donor taking care of the internet issue, but then still that didn't work. But never once were any of us, especially not Harry, like, okay, that's it, we're done. This isn't working for us. We tried. And no, it's always like, let's just keep trying. And even if it's a sentence or two that we get out of somebody, it's worth it, because we know that this understanding transforms lives and families and communities, and God willing can transform the world. So it's just about us being the messengers of this great understanding and just being patient with, the opportunities that are in front of us. So it's been a great opportunity, just, learning to take it a moment at a time, literally. As in, if the internet works for a moment, you chat it out and you say whatever you can say and you listen to whatever you can listen to. And if it doesn't work, then be it, we just try again. So, that's
And we keep adjusting, Omar. It's like a very difficult thing but we keep changing until we try and find the right fit for everybody so that it works. Until that happens, I want people to understand, until it happens, it's your job to try and see the direction the project has to go. And in the evolvement of it, and it's the same evolvement that we're doing in the support group, is at a certain point, I won't be needed. They'll be able to run the support group without me. And they could do it already, but it's at a higher level if I'm participating. But at a certain point, I'll be a hindrance, because it's this, one of the things that we've done, guys, is I'm meeting with the executive team in Uganda on Saturday, and then Sumini and Yai are going to meet with the individual teachers on Tuesday. And it allows them to share. See, it's not about the icons and the big guys getting to all the sharing and all the credit. The truth is, in reality, it's a bottom-up experience on 3 principles. It's where each of the mentors, each of the colleagues, each of the clients realize their own wisdom. And they can't realize it if the mentor or the icon is holding them prisoner. It doesn't work. You have to see it for yourself. And what I've seen with the Nigerian group is that each person has grown collectively and individually. And that's the feeling I love. And to be honest, I want to say thank you to the Nigerians who are here. You have brought love into my heart. I really mean it. You've really, really brought love into my heart. And as you know, I really value that feeling tremendously, because I always say you can't have too much love. It's just impossible. It just almost feels like it. And in a funny way, I've gone to Nigeria and I've learned about the Nigerian and the African people. And I believe Africa is opening up to the 3 principles. And that's a beautiful thing. Nobody knows about it, but that doesn't matter. We know about it. And we will, by the grace of Allah, by the grace of God, by the grace of mind, we will be able to share in many, many beautiful ways. Community, people, is really important, not always individual growth. Community, sharing, helping is really important. So, yeah. What's this? Abba, we have to admit him. Okay, yeah. Is he coming in? Ah, here's Abba. Let's wait for Abba. He hasn't said anything. Is he here? Oh, hi, Abba. You made it.
Hi.
Good. Good. You made it. Better late than never.
Yeah.
I always say the Africans are always on time. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, Abba maybe could you share a little bit of what you went through when you had your relapse and the importance of the support group and why it's necessary in addiction? Why is it? Why is there has to be a support group? From your perspective.
Yeah. Actually, I could remember one thing about my relapse that I was so depressed, and I thought it was a bad feeling. All the regrets kept coming. But after talking with Asma, I realized it was a good feeling, and the relapse made me who I am today. My progress, my achievements, and I can say I'm glad I had the relapse. Yeah,
I'm glad you had it too, to be honest.
yeah.
People, please understand this one point about addiction. Abba has had two times, he's had two insights. Both came after his relapse. The first time he had a relapse, he came humble and he's listened on a much bigger level. You see, when we go through tough times, it's two things. People don't understand this in 3P, but there's two things. The first thing is that it's Allah's indication to you that you're going in the wrong direction. Secondly, it's a mystical gift given to you to let you know that something special is coming. So it's a mystical gift to go through this stuff, except the mental mind, this is not true. It condemns it, right? It criticizes it. Yeah. But each time for Abba, the mystical gift was that it brought deeper understanding of his spirit and his connection to Allah and his personal empowerment. Because one thing Abba, you must say, you basically have a relatively successful life, except for this little problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Abba has a successful life, except for this little itsy bitsy problem. And each time the problem shows up, he has a deeper gift because Allah opens up the treasure chest within him and shows him the truth. Now, what was interesting, Abba, when we got together for the second relapse, how long did it take for you to, when we got together, did it take for you to get that good feeling again?
And in a second.
Yeah, it was almost like instant.
Yeah, instantly, believe me.
You see, Omar, we have a bond, Abba and I. Like he trusts the feeling, and he loves my lousy jokes. He just loves them. So it's
How
just.
could you, Abba? How could you?
Yeah, honestly,
I just have
yeah,
to.
that's the yeah. You know, you don't have to be wise, but if you have a lot of jokes, it does help. You know,
Especially lousy ones from Harry.
that's
They're a
just
bit scary.
that's it. It's Omar, shame on you for saying that.
I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
I
I'm
know.
kidding. I do have to admit that I like some of your jokes, Harry. Not all of
Okay.
them, though. Not all of them, but some of
Okay.
them.
Okay. Yeah, nobody likes all of them, you know, except me.
Of course.
Yeah. So what did the support? So it made us aware. It made you aware, and made me aware that we needed a support group. Isn't that correct?
Can I ask something?
Sure. Please do. Let's
Yeah.
open it
I
up.
actually would love to ask Mohammed and Abba, like, what do you think is needed for people who are addicted now to know or to have in their surroundings in order for them to get to get over that addiction? We cannot hear you, or is it just me?
No, I couldn't hear it.
Yeah, that's the
Can you hear
one
me
that
now?
has, yeah, better.
We'll go around
They need
go around everybody and ask that question. Go ahead, Abba.
they need people in their cycle to show them the good feeling. I think that's what they are missing. The good feeling in it.
It sounds so simple, doesn't it, Omar?
Because
It
I
does.
think all they think about is just full of bad feelings.
Hmm.
And that's why the bad jokes work.
Yeah.
This reminds me that when like Sydney Banks used to always remind us of the importance of the feeling you're living with in his seminars or his audio tapes, because that's really what guides us. Love that, Abba. Thank you.
Go ahead,
Thank you for
Mohammed.
sharing.
And we'll ask the others as well, the same question. It's a great question.
Okay, I think it's about, waking up and, accepting the fact that you have a problem and actually, start looking for a solution to your problem. I think
It,
that's
in
it
a
for me.
in a positive way, not in a
Wait,
negative.
yes,
Because
yes.
you didn't want to get into your negativity at all. You don't like that.
Yeah, sure.
When you saw your beauty or your wisdom or your happiness, it was an easy step for you. But
Yeah,
the other, go ahead.
yeah, and something funny, yeah. Okay, my last relapse, usually when I have a relapse, I always, go to a rehab and, try and control myself. But this last one, um, you know, I didn't I didn't go to any rehab, and then that's I think the following week was when I started speaking to you. So and then I don't know, I just kind of held myself together, and then now I'm even stronger than when I have always gone to rehab, and it's just such a good feeling for me, honestly.
Beautiful. That's a powerful statement. Very beautiful. Go ahead, Aisha or Bilkasu or even any of you.
Yeah. I think for me, it's to the families. It's to the families because it seems that earlier on, Umar said about it's really about thinking. So with the families of anyone who is facing addiction, it seems that the whole family is caught up into it, but they are caught up in a different kind of heavy feeling. And so all the blame tends to go to the person facing the addiction and the family begins to lose sight of the person, of the true self of the person, and just sees all these things. But in letting go of all that, because what I saw, like with Muhammad and his family, it was seeing Muhammad, remembering who Muhammad is, seeing Muhammad. So that for me, I felt that was the most important thing. Seeing Muhammad without like all the other things. And so seeing the beauty, I don't know, like Muhammad, can you speak to that? How was it different before and how you were supported, and how what was the difference between then and now that your family has this understanding?
Okay. Well, in the past, it was more like, okay, it was more like, okay, Muhammad enjoys his addiction. Muhammad, why don't you just stop? Muhammad, stop. And deep inside, it wasn't like that. Deep inside, I wanted to stop, but then I just couldn't stop. I just couldn't stop. But then this time around, like my mom was a lot more supportive. She understood that this addiction is a thing of, I don't know, it's a very strong thing, and it's not just something you can just, stop just in an instant, but it takes a lot of factors coming, lots of factors, do come in for it to work. And then this time around, that's what happened. She became more supportive, and she wasn't, all that overprotective, like, okay, mama, don't go out again, mama, don't do this, mama, I'm afraid you're going to do this. In the past, all those things I can say used to, just make me do worse. But then now I realize, oh, it was just her own way of trying to protect me. But now she understands that there's just so much she can do, and then now she's just trying to offer her help. So that really made me understand more. And then, yeah, their support really helped.
Absolutely. And Omar, Aisha worked with the mother, and then Aisha and myself worked with Mohammed before we went into the support group. And his mother is dynamite, wonderful human being. But that was Aisha's doing. And so she took care, she understood and that they had that bond, but you can see how supportive that was to Mohammed.
Absolutely. Like I totally could relate to what Muhammad shared about, when his mom changed her behavior with him. Because I remember this client of mine that wanted me to work with her kid because he just he's naughty, right? And she told me like this is not like any normal naughtiness out there, but he's overly naughty and he's making me crazy, and he's making his dad crazy, but he's not buying into it, and he's doing much better than I am in the house, but I'm just losing it. Why don't you speak with him? And actually she was shocked when I asked her, can I have a conversation with you first before talking to your kid? And then we had our first conversation and tried to see like what's in her mind about her kid. And all I could see is all this negative thinking and this picture of him not, doing well at school and doing this and that. And she wasn't bonding with him. She wasn't giving him the support he needed psychologically. And in her mind, she thought that she's doing that, and it just doesn't work. And at some point, she realized that she was making it more than it seems. And actually, I asked her to have another conversation with her and not her kid. At the end, I never had a conversation with her kid, and she just starts seeing him differently. She told me that he changed, but he did. Actually, she just stopped buying into. She stopped being reactive. And that changed the relationship between him and his mother, or her and her kid, actually. And that's just interesting and beautiful, because sometimes it seems like I need to fix something out there, maybe this person in front of me, but it's all the time, not just sometime. It's just our thinking about that situation that's blurring the picture and making us suffer.
That's a powerful point, Omar. And just a change of thought or an insight. It seems like it's the same problem everybody has, whether it's Muslim, Jewish, or it's parent kid. You're seeing differences, you're seeing negativity, and with the love that you shared and the understanding, the truth was she loves her son.
It's really funny what she's told me. After in our last conversation, she told me, well, his dad start getting upset and he start being more reactive than I was. So why don't you have a conversation with him?
Yeah, type of thing. But it does show the importance of family. And what Aisha and
Absolutely.
Mohammed and yourself have illustrated is it's everybody, everything is a support group. There is really no support group. It's just the whole world is a support group once the wisdom is accessed. And and so on. And once the seriousness disappears. Why are we so serious? I just can't figure that out. It's such, you want to get old, get serious. There you go. You want to get ugly, get serious.
You want to suffer? Get serious.
There we go. There we go. Simple and so on. We have one more member who has joined us from the support group. It's Asma, who was initially mentored, was one of the on the team with Abba type of thing. And Asma, can you tell us what you've experienced with the support group and answering Omar's question of what was the question again, Omar? What is needed or what is needed to be seen within this area of addiction and so on?
Well, let me just rephrase it. What do you think is helpful to those who are addicted right now? What would you
Oh, there's better question.
tell them or show
Asma,
them
are
or
you there?
point them out?
Are you there?
I don't think she's there, but
Okay. How about you, Bill Kasu, to answer that question?
oh, Bilkusu.
Okay, so for me, the first thing is to give that safe space, support. A lot of times we treat it, even the way, for me, really, this learning has changed the way I see things completely. So showing up compassionately, giving that support, giving hope, and finding that good feeling. Because we just think we care about them and we keep making the situation worse instead of supporting. And we keep telling them things that they've already told themselves. They're battling within them with those same language we use, trying to push them, trying to scold them, looking at them with the way we even look at them, the way we think about them. Whatever we're going to tell them, they know it and they're battling it from within. So that compassion and support is a game changer, giving hope first and foremost.
Yeah. How about you, Yai?
So for me, I'll have to speak from my own experience. I struggled with substances for years before I can actually leave them alone completely. And my biggest struggle and what kept me in it for so long was just being a victim of life, not understanding that the Creator, God, will never burden me more than I can handle. And everything was just, why me? Why this? Why? But the second I was able to let go of my thinking and my perspection and my illusion of myself and the world and the struggle, I was able to connect with God and know that it was okay to feel the pain, but I didn't have to struggle. And I was able to see the light, the glimpse of light in the darkness. So I say for somebody who's addicted, them just having the glimpse of light, just having a taste of hope, as Bill Kisu said, is really key. Because when you're in the darkness of things, it can feel like there's no other way, that you just have to be where you are. And that's never the case.
Yeah. And this hope and this sharing, the group, what we're offering to people in the Muslim community, and to be honest, non-Muslim community as well, is something that works, guys. Like, why are you not coming? I just don't understand it. We have results beyond compare. Any other program, we have better results than anything in the world, but you don't come. If you don't come, you can't get help. And the help is really not help. It's what they are talking about. Hope leads to spiritual identity within yourself. Your own wisdom is accessed, and you have a good time. So that's your choice. Bad time, good time. You've done a lot of bad time. Why not try a little of the good time? And what this group is sharing is, not only have they learned about how to deal with their disappointment in themselves or their doubt that they can be free, but they have found an empowerment. They have found their own strength, their own wisdom. We are not saying we have the answer. We're saying Allah has the answer, or Spirit has the answer. And we're not saying we know what you need, but we can tell you that when that space, that feeling is experienced, like with Abba, relapse, 1 second, feeling good. Now, I saw that. Now, it could have been 2 years, but 1 second. That's what you want. Jump time, people. Stop spending so much time. Forget about what your faith tells you that it's a baddie. Forget about that people are condemning you. Come and get healing. Come and get help. I plead with you, even though it's useless. It seems to be on deaf ears. But at least, Omar, the Nigerian people have stepped up to the plate, and we have something. It's a model, Omar. We have done it in Nigeria. We have a support group. 3P does not have support groups. We have done it. We have proven that it's successful. We have proven it's fun. It works. We should be doing it in other countries. That's
Love
just
it,
the
Harry.
way.
Love it. Also, I just want to add something about forgetting, forgiving as well, forgiving ourselves makes forgetting much more easier. Because we could forgive someone, but sometimes it's really hard to forgive ourselves. We feel the guilt. And I think I mentioned this on a video I did about forgiving ourselves and being gentle with ourselves. Being gentle, not like in our behavior, but actually it's more to do with the source of the behavior. Being gentle with our selves means not buying into those thoughts that are not serving us well. That's for me being gentle with myself. Because when I'm not gentle with myself and I'm buying into what I have in my mind, I'm addicted to that thought. So that's I could call this an addiction, and I suffer that, and I could use something to fix that. But since I know that it's not to do with what I'm using, and it has something to do with my thinking in that moment, that kind of dissipates and make space for those beautiful feelings that Abba mentioned to emerge naturally, those feelings that guide us toward the path to the divine.
Yeah, and once those feelings are experienced, Omar, game over or game changer.
Oh.
it answers your question that's in your mind. This higher feeling is the guidance. Yeah. Maja, since you
Maya.
Maya, almost
I,
right.
I wish you would get this right, Harry.
Harry, you
At
can call
least
me
one.
Marsha all you want. It's
Okay.
a really good name.
It is. It's like a
But Maya
royal.
is selfless. You're lucky because she's selfish. She's not taking herself seriously, and I love it.
What as a what have you observed from the group and so on?
From this group,
Yeah.
I just love the space and the support, and I know the way that you can really share the just the joy of coming back when you've been lost, and really appreciative of the experiences when you're not feeling well, and because that will make the joy greater when you experience that joy,
Yeah. That's what they're experiencing, greater joy.
That's what I heard anyway.
It's true.
And it sounds really easy, like, and I know that's true for me as well. It takes seconds because it's not far away. And it's not like you have to dig into a problem or anything. It's just reminding you of what's real.
That's it.
Mm.
So no big deal. It's not even a problem. It's just it's the pathway that each of these people have chosen to experience a deeper feeling of Allah.
Mm.
It's
Really,
so
and
simple.
I can really see the value of a support group. I mean, every time I spend too much time away from people talking about this, I'd also feel, I don't know, caught up or losing my way, But as soon as you just listen to someone sharing deep stuff, you remember.
And
So
the
that's
other,
all it takes, really.
yeah, but Maya, it's not only reminding, you are going through new experiences as well, some of which are tougher to experience. And so the support group helps you in your ongoing pursuit of happiness. And so it's a reminder, and B, it's also a helpful guide for when we're going through difficult things. Say you're going through a divorce or something like that. It's to go through a divorce with a feeling of support and love and spiritual guidance is totally different than be left on your own to think about it and think about it and think about it.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a vacation. Everybody needs a holiday from their thinking. That's the answer to addiction. Go on holiday, people, and enjoy yourself. Even though it looks like it's not working out, it works out. I can promise you that.
Yeah, something that I just remembered, a quote that I read that once Eckhart Tolle shared about the early stages of awakening, of the awakening process that I would love to share with you. He once said that many people who are going through the early stages of awakening process are no longer certain what their outer purpose is. What drives the world no longer drives them. Seeing the madness of our civilization so clearly, they feel somewhat alienated from the culture around them. Some feel that they inhabit a no man's land between the two worlds. They are no longer run by the ego, yet the arising awareness has not yet become fully integrated into their lives. Inner and outer purpose have not merged. And I wanted
I recognize
to share
this, Omar. I
Yeah,
recognize that feeling.
Me too. And like for me, even like relating it to today's subject, we're talking about addiction, like someone who's addicted to substance, especially, that when they hear about this understanding, at first they might their ego might drop, and they have this this conflict between the outer and inner purpose that is not yet obvious to them. But the truth is that you know, at some point it just makes sense. It makes total sense when the two are merged and the two actually become one, you know? And so like relapse again and again, but you're always being taken care of.
And it's just part of life. We're always relapsing.
Absolutely.
You know, every time I go to the fridge and eat too much, oh my God, you know, but it's, so maybe this is a good place. I want to thank everyone for coming on and the beautiful feeling. Maybe we could have each one say a quick thank you, and just so people can be aware. And go ahead, Mohammed, just say, did you enjoy yourself?
Yeah, I did. Sure. It's absolutely amazing.
Yeah, it's cool, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, it's an unusual experience. Mohammed, the Hollywood star.
Someday.
Keep smiling, son, and it will happen. Yeah. How about you, Abba? Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, it's always great feeling sharing.
Yes. In fact,
Thank you very much.
that was what Abba was missing. When without the support group, he had no one to share what he understood. The sharing is important to keep it alive. Without the support group, so when we got together, he had someone to talk about what he knew, because what he does out there in the world, nobody wants to talk about that with him. So he was missing that piece, and that also is an aspect of the support group. How about you, Bill Kasu? Did you enjoy it? If you were there. Anyway, yeah, that's correct. Thank you both, Mohammed, Abba, for sharing, being so honest, and being so free to share. It's not a heavy, it's actually a privilege. And everybody, no matter who we are here, has gone through tough times. Everybody. In fact, I always said that's what, that's what made life interesting, although challenging. And yeah, I had to dig deeper inside myself. It was a test. Allah gives you tests. Do you believe, or is it a fact? Belief is cool. Fact is different. Fact is direct connection. And when you have direct connection, you can just be ordinary and enjoy yourself. That's what I love about it. So
can we hear from Yai and Maya?
Go ahead, Maya.
Yeah. Just thank you.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. I don't know.
So wrap it up.
You know, it's about the feeling, not the words.
Isn't that the truth? Isn't that the truth? Go ahead, Yai. Well, time for us to wrap it up. I have another meeting coming actually up very soon. So
we all have a thinking problem, and when we see that we are what we think, not our thinking is us, then it's not a problem.
Yeah.
That's it.
Beautiful.
So
Beautiful. First of all, I'd love to thank Muhammad and Awa for their sharings. That's been, well, it's been really helpful to shed light on the importance of seeing through our thinking problem, really, for all of us, you know, just not just addicted people. Yeah, and I would love to thank our participants, Bilkasu, Maya, Asma, Yai, and Harry Durbitsky, who didn't share any lousy jokes today. So that's I call it a win. And in 2 weeks, we have Joe Bailey with us talking about
Yeah.
addiction.
yes,
So
that will be an interesting contrast because he's more traditional and he's a psychologist. So it's a little bit different flavor than but it's bound to be a good show, and it'll probably attract a few more people from 3P community because he's more of an icon, I guess. So we'll look forward to that for sure.
great, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys. Very cool. Very cool. Cool.